Now, U.S. markets are making a comeback after their worst week in 2 years. The S&P 500 briefly fell into correction. It has since recovered slightly. The Nasdaq remains in a correction territory. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says he's not worried about recent losses. He told NBC it's not healthy for the markets to go up all the time. Listen.
I've been in the investment business for 35 years, and I can tell you that corrections are healthy, they're normal. What's not healthy is straight up, that you get these euphoric markets. That's how you get a financial crisis. It would have been much healthier if someone had put the brakes on in 06, 07. We wouldn't have had the problems in 08. So I'm not worried about the markets. Over the long term, if we put good tax policy in place, deregulation, and energy security, the markets will do great.
Paul Krugman is a Nobel Prize-winning economist and a professor at City University of New York, and he joins us now. I will not pretend to try and school anyone on what the Treasury Secretary just said. So over to you. What do you think about that comment?
It's a very odd thing. I mean, really, Treasury secretaries shouldn't be making calls about what the market should be doing in any case. And it's a very, I mean, the whole, I've been, parsing what he said over the weekend and in the past few days. And what's odd to me is how it's almost as if the Trump economic team has accepted that bad things are going to happen. Even though the current economic data are fine, but they're sort of making excuses and stories about a bad economy when we don't yet have a bad economy, and saying I like market corrections. That's not something that's kind of really inappropriate for his office, and I don't know what to make of it.
And yet they seem to be trying to prepare Americans for what's to come. And they say, look, we're going to have a little bit of pain here. We're going to remind viewers of some recent data. Now, retail sales for February were up marginally. There was lower discretionary spending. The University of Michigan Consumer Confidence Report, that's at a 2.5-year low. And then we were speaking earlier about the OECD report. And I will note on that, to your point that the economy is just fine, thank you very much. Yes, growth will be lower, but the United States will still be posting 3% higher growth. So I want to say to you, what do all of these signals tell you about where the economy is now and where it could be headed?
Okay, first important thing to understand is that the Treasury Secretary doesn't know anything that you don't know and I don't know. It's all publicly available data, and then trying to figure out what's going to happen. They have got this story which says that we're going to have a lot of pain as we rebalance the economy, because their storyline is that job growth during the Biden years was phony, that it was all government employment, except it takes you about 90 seconds of checking the data to find out that that's not true, that we had lots of private sector job growth and not exceptionally high public sector job growth under Biden. So they're saying we need lots of pain as part of a transition from a state we're not into a presumed future state. So it's a very odd story. They're kind of giving excuses for a lot of pain without a good reason why we need to experience that pain. I've been finding recent commentary from Bessent and others just quite baffling. I don't know what's going through their minds.
And it's clear from the message from the White House, though, and the entire economic team, that tariffs are what is top of mind. Yeah. What do you believe, if they go through with everything, especially after April 2nd, what do you believe the impact will be on the U.S. economy?
It looks quite nasty. I mean, first of all, it does appear, I mean, who knows, but if we're going to be doing tariffs on Canada and Mexico, then that's going to be enormously disruptive to manufacturing in all three countries, because we really have an integrated North American manufacturing sector, and you don't break that up without a lot of damage. We're very, they're talking about reciprocity, and Trump is already putting some tariffs on the Europeans, but probably more. And it's not clear at all what that means. European tariffs on U.S. goods are not high, but it sounds like they may decide, wrongly, bad economics, but they may decide that European value-added taxes are in effect tariffs, in which case we would be talking also about 20, 25% tariffs on Europe as well as Mexico and Canada. China is already in the line of fire as well. So we are, if you had to make a call right now, you'd say we're talking about a kind of universal trade war, which will raise the cost of living by several percent in the United States, which will hurt economic activity, and the very uncertainty about policy is bad for economic activity. If you're a business, you probably are going to sit on your hands rather than make investments because you don't know what the economic environment is going to be 6 months down the road.
But you made an important point that the Treasury Secretary doesn't have any more data than you and I have at our disposal right now. When they see what's coming in the next 12 or 18 months after what will be clearly a trade war, do you believe that they're just willing to accept that? And more to the point, they believe Americans will accept that politically?
Well, they're trying to get Americans to accept it. I think that they're willing to accept it is pretty much. I don't think anybody believes that Bessent is making the decisions here. Right? This is whoever has Trump's ear. It's not his Treasury Secretary. It's probably none of his cabinet members. And they're trying to get people to accept it. I doubt that that's going to be effective. I mean, I've been actually stunned at how much. I mean, consumer confidence right now has plunged basically to what it was when inflation was at its peak in 2022. That's a pretty amazing thing to do when, in fact, inflation is still quite low, not very far above target, and unemployment is still low. So at the moment, the American people are scared to death about Trump's policies. And I doubt that anything that Bessent says is going to change that.
We will continue to monitor this quite carefully. Paul Krugman, thanks for joining us, and we will have you back. See where all this is going. Appreciate it.
Thank you.